Good afternoon. Welcome everybody to our first unmute and recharge session for this school year. Thanks for joining in. We have some fabulous presenters today. Let me just introduce them. Right now, we are going to be seeing today Jeanette Mejadas, Gloria Tovar, Stephanie Alfaro, and Lori De Los Santos. They all have some fabulous topics to share with you to show you how they're integrating some technology in their classroom. And hopefully you'll like what you see and go out and learn and do and try with your own students. Today we have some housekeeping just in case you haven't registered. The session number is in the chat. It's 293-456. Make sure you register, and then also make sure you do the remote check-in, which is PSJA Tech. Make sure you go into the PD system and check in so that you can qualify for our door prizes at the end of the session. If you have questions, let's keep our mics muted during this session, but feel free to type questions in the chat and we will make sure we try to get those answered for you. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Jeanette. I'm going to give the sharing rights to her and let her lead the way. So Jeanette, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Like Debbie said, my name is Jeanette Mijares, and I'm the IB coach at Palacios. And today I'm going to be sharing a little bit on Canva. So I'm going to share my screen with y'all. Are you all able to see my screen now?
Yes, we are.
Yes, okay. So Canva is a really, really neat website that we all have access to. It's a platform that allows us to do graphic designs, and they have multiple templates available for us, from graphics to presentations that you're able to use with your students. And it's really visually appealing, and you can make it very engaging for your students if you share it on Google Classroom or you send it over Teams through them, however it is that you communicate with your students best. And so we're going to talk a little bit about 4 different options that they have, that Canva has to offer, that I think are really neat to incorporate into your classroom. So the first one is Canva Live. So what's really neat is when you're doing a presentation on Canva, you're able to share with your students the presentation as it is. And then from there, what you're able to do is they're able to comment and respond to you, kind of the way when we were back in COVID, when we had our students type out their responses on Google Meets type of thing. That's kind of the effect it has. It's a live response that the students can go through and generate their responses. You can do an anonymous input, or you can have it to where it shows their names. And so that's really neat, especially for ensuring that all our students are focused throughout the entire lesson. And so this is one of the ways that you would like to make presentations, because they are very visually appealing. This would be a really neat way to kind of collaborate with them. We'll also kind of go over a little bit on how we're able to share with our students. And so, like I mentioned, you're able to share with them using Google Classroom, or you can send the link to them through Google, through Teams, or if you somehow contact them through their email, because whatever other reason, you're able to do that as well. And then my favorite part right now, it would be the AI generator. And so you have 3 options when you're doing the AI generator. You're able to do the magic write, the magic design, and the text to image. And so it's really neat because I know there's a lot of AI going on right now, and I know a lot of people are a little skeptical about using them, but this is a really neat way to incorporate it into your classroom, and it'll help you either by planning lessons or sending letters home. And maybe if you don't know how to word them entirely, this is something that can help you. The text to image, I tell my teachers that it's always really neat to use it when we are trying to come up with reading prompts, maybe to make them more fun. As we know, writing, it's a little harder to get them to write. And so when we use this text to image, we're able to get some kind of fun little designs on there and pictures going up. Like if you notice here in this presentation, that I'm pretty sure Debbie and Valentin will share with you, but they put like a panda riding a surfboard, and you're able to do that. And so if you present these really neat things for your students, they become more engaged, and it'll be a way to get them to write. So that would be really neat to incorporate. And then the engaging presentation effects. So if you're doing a presentation with your students, like I said, if you, the presentations, I mean, kind of like when we had PowerPoint, you're able to have them, they're already pre-made. But what's really neat is that you're able to kind of have different effects go off depending on what it is that you want them to do. So you'll have this here, but you have the opportunity to blur your screen, to make bubbles appear, a drum roll for dramatic effect, confetti if you're celebrating anything, a mic drop, a curtain call, and even like a little emoji that says tells them to quiet down. And so it also has the capability of having a timer on there. So it's really, really neat that you have those features. I try to put all 4 of them in there for you. That way you can kind of refer back to them. And then I'll also include the link because I had presented this during our conference and a lot of people loved it. So I'll put that link in there as well. That way you can get the full effect, because I know right now it's kind of turbo and it's just trying to get everything to you. But we'll kind of go over these a little bit. So this is Canva. This is this is a platform that we're using. All teachers have free access to Canva. So if you haven't registered, this would be a perfect time to go in, register with your credentials, and then sign up for the teacher account. Like I said, we all have free access to that. And you can make all kinds of stuff. Like I said, you're able to make Word documents, whiteboards where you can make it collaborative for your students, different presentations. If you want to send notes home, like I know I also do cheer at our campus. And so we just make like little announcements of what the girls need to wear for a certain practice or for an event. We make them, it doesn't really take us that long, but it looks like you invested a lot of time in it because they already have so many different options for you to upload. You can make videos, websites. I mean, you name it, they have it. They even have access for you all to make planners on there. So if you like to have all that fun stuff on there, you're able to do that. But right now, what I'm going to kind of go through really quick is maybe a presentation that way you all can see. So like I said, once you click on these different icons, it'll take you to these like pre-made presentations that they already have. Everything on them is completely editable. And so it's really neat because you can make it your own depending on what it is that you're looking to incorporate it with your students. You can add different slideshows. Different templates on there. So for example, this could be your home screen. The fonts are completely editable. You can change that. You can change the color, the effects on it. I mean, you name it, they have it. Always play with it. Like I tell my teachers, play with it and you'll learn so much about it. You're able to incorporate different little icons in there, add text and fonts and upload pictures that you may have. Like I said, this is the cheer stuff. We upload their uniform. So for example, this is this is your practice shirt. You're also able to take off the backgrounds on them, and then it looks a little bit more presentable and it looks a little bit more professional on that end. You can have all kinds of effects on them. If you wanted to blur out, I mean, you name it, they have it. Just play with it, and that's available for you. This is where you will also get the option to present. When you present, you just go to that present screen, and then this is kind of where you can blur the screen. You can tell them to quiet down, the drum roll. I mean, everything's on there, the bubbles, confetti. I mean, everything's on there. It's really neat, and it's really engaging for your students as you go through. This is where you incorporate, let me look for them real quick. Where is it? So this is that text to image that I was talking about, which goes back to the AI. So here they have little pre-made things for you, but you can look up all kinds of stuff. Maybe you want a snowman at the beach. I don't know. You type create image. It'll generate 4 pictures of it. If you don't like the pictures, if you want something different, you can regenerate them until you find something that you like. It does take a little bit. It takes quite some time, but they have all kinds of stuff. So let's say this is the picture you want, or maybe this is the one you want, and then you have your kids write about it. In this case, obviously, we know that the snow won't really hold up at the beach, right? But I mean, this guy kind of goes back into that creativity and the opportunity that you're giving your students to be able to write about it. And so that's a really neat option that they have on there. You're able to translate as well, which is really neat. So if you can translate it, you can, for example, if you want it typed in Spanish, you translate the page and it'll translate the whole thing for you. Oh, I don't know what. Again, it's you might have to play with it a little bit, right? But and what's really neat is it won't go over what you have. It'll just duplicate it. And so, I mean, you have that opportunity to do that as well, especially if you're creating notes to go home. That could be something that you provide for them. But yeah, like I said, I'll attach the link to the presentation that we did today, just because there's so many different options that you have. Another thing that you do have, and I kind of want to share with you before, if you go to present and you go to present and record, you're able to record yourself presenting that presentation. So for example, let's say you're going to be out and maybe you have something to share with your students and you don't want them to miss out. You can record that presentation and then you can post it on your Google Classroom and the students can watch it, and it's like you're there teaching them and then they have to go through it on their end. So that's really neat. And your face does come out on the side, so brush your hair before you go on. But it's really neat because you can have that on there. I know one of the things that we had done when I was presenting at the conference, they said, well, I would like it can create books as well. Like if you create books with it using the AI. I'm like, well, what about if we read it? So when we were playing with it, we discovered that you're able to record yourself. So like, oh, that would be really neat if we make these books, we read them, and then you can send them home for homework. You can send them with QR codes, all kinds of stuff that you're able to do with it. So that's really neat. Your imagination is as big as it goes, and this program allows you to do all of that. So I encourage you to play with it, to get to know it a little better. I mean, even the smallest thing, it doesn't have to be something super crazy. But for example, if you're having a Halloween party or anything like that, you're able to do that. I was in curriculum writing, and so I did some of those slideshow presentations that fourth grade sees using Canva. And so it's really neat because, I mean, you're able to include all kinds of stuff. The graphics are really, really neat. And it's our students like a lot of the visuals, so incorporating things like that is really important. So I invite you to do that. You're able to also, and you can save in all kinds of ways. So there'll be the last one, I promise. I don't want to take up anyone's time. But for instance, this was one of the presentations that one of our first graders did. So they had to create a map and then they recorded themselves. So their teacher recorded them and then she uploaded into to her drive. And she said, but now I don't know how to incorporate that so the other teachers can see without using just a QR code. So I was like, oh, let's put it in Canva. We'll attach the link, and then you have many options of how you want to save it. And so when you're downloading it, you go to download. You go to download, and it gives you all of the options in which you can save. And so because we wanted it to be a live link, we saved it as a PDF. If you just want it as a picture, maybe it's something that you're putting out and you're sending it to your parents. Maybe you can save it just as a JPEG or PNG. If it's a presentation and you want it to play consecutively, then you can do an MP4, which is a video. So, I mean, you have all of those options on there. If you have any questions whatsoever, contact me, send me a Teams message, send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to help you. But yeah, so thank you. Sorry, I know it was like all quick and I wanted to share everything with you, but we don't have all the time in the world. But yeah, contact me. And then if you don't know something, maybe I can share my screen with you and then I can give you a small walkthrough, but I'm here to help in any way you need.
Awesome. Canva has so many possibilities out there. So thank you so much, Jeanette, for sharing those examples and samples and tips. All right. Next up, we have Gloria Tovar. So Gloria, take it away.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay. I won't turn on my camera. I just got off duty and it's pretty hot out there.
It's
Okay, so
okay.
let me share
We
my
understand.
screen.
While Gloria is getting her screen up, I just want to remind everybody to make sure that you do sign in to the PD system and check in so you'll qualify for the raffle at the end.
Okay, can you see the white screen, my Google Drive or no?
We see your Google Drive, yes.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Gloria Tovar, the CIT at Longoria Elementary. And this year I wanted to incorporate a little bit more scavenger hunts using the QR codes with my students. So we did a training on using QR codes in our CIT at the beginning of the school year. So my first idea was doing like a back to school rules with the students. We did receive our devices the third week of school. So that's the time that I did the scavenger hunt with them. So the scavenger hunts, it's just a different way to have the students work in collaborative groups. So we're doing all the SIP activities that they want us to do, just in a different way. Using the QR codes, it's they're scanning it. It's part of a game. They see the students see it like a game, but they're always end goal in mind. You can use the QR codes in any content areas in many different ways. You can do it to reveal a secret code, some riddles, a challenge. It's like the escape rooms that high school or middle school have. In my opinion, I think that's a little bit more advanced. So I wanted to start with the scavenger hunts first to see how they work, and maybe little by little, I can keep on adding more rigor to my lessons. So I'm going to show you two different ways that I did the scavenger hunts with my students. The first one was like the beginning of the year. So I did some Google Forms, and I'll show you those in a bit, and their pictures as well. So I did find this worksheet in Teachers Pay Teachers. I just went back and edited some of the questions because they didn't pertain to my class. So for example, where is your teacher's desk? Where is this class library? The class calendar. So just basic rules of the classroom. So each of the 12 questions had a Google form. So I had 12 QR codes for each Google form. When they would click on the answer, it would tell them if they were correct, and they would give them a letter as their clue. So they had to fill out the whole message. So these would be the QR codes for each question. There was 12 of them. I didn't want to put them all spread out in my classroom, so I put them by threes. I had 4 groups and put each 3 QR codes in each section. So once the students finished with one group, they would go on to the next center and scan the next 3 codes. So for each question, I did the Google form. So I asked the same question and I put the 3 answer choices. And then my key. So when they would go back and check, it would say, yeah, you got it. And then it would give them the little letter for their code, for their message. So this is something new that for me, so I'm still trying to learn and find an easier way, or I know that each time I do one, it'll get better, or I'll find new ideas. So once they completed their message, they would turn it in, and the first group would get a prize. So these are just some of the pictures where the students are working, scanning their QR codes. And like I mentioned, they're doing all the CIV protocols that we have to be incorporating in our daily lessons. And then I did another one last week, which was on place value. They were creating a mystery number. I created 4 different mystery numbers for each group and 4 different clues for each one for each place value. I created this using Canva, and then I just put each in a PDF form. So they each had their clue. They had to guess what number it was for each place value. Once they thought they had the correct mystery number, they would go and input it in a Google form and type in the number. If they got it correct, it would tell them automatically, yeah, you got it correct, or try again. For this one, I only created 1 QR code per file. So they only scanned it once and they would get all 4 of them, just like this one, in a file together. They didn't have to scan 4 separate codes. And then they did scan a different one just for the Google form to input their answer to see if they were correct. And these are just some of the pictures of them working together. They find they're working together, but they think it's just a game and fun. It does take a little bit of time just creating the QR codes. There's many web pages that you can use to create them. I did notice that on one of them, when I created the QR code and the students tried to scan it a second time, it wouldn't let them. So I had to try different websites to find which one works better for you. Like I did mention it, I mean, it's all practice. It's something new that you can try in your classrooms to make your lessons a little bit different. There's many already pre-made in Teachers Pay Teachers. Of course, some of them you do have to pay, but you can get an idea and you can create them on your own. I don't know if there's any questions out there.
Awesome, Gloria. Great way to integrate technology and get your students motivated and having fun. We did have Stephanie asking about scanning using your Chromebook.
They did have a little bit of trouble. Like when they flipped it, like their camera was backwards. And so sometimes they would get the little QR code and just put it in front of their camera. And they did have to click on scan and then QR code on their devices for it to work.
And then there are some, though, some Chromebooks do have a second camera if you flip it all the way open, but not all of them do. So test it out with some of your students, but great job. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. And like I said, I'm learning it. So I hope that every lesson that I do gets better with time.
Let me know when you do it again. I would love to come see it.
Okay, yes, thank you.
All right. Awesome.
Perfect. Okay, next up, we have Stephanie Alfaro. So Stephanie, take it away.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Stephanie Alfaro. I'm the CIT at Farias Elementary, and I'm also a 4th grade bilingual teacher. So my presentation is going to be on Flip. Let me start sharing. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, I did send a link for this testing group if you guys would like to join to see what I'm going to be talking about. And whenever you have time, if you want to test it out. So the main focus that I wanted to talk about today was using Flip to practice with Summit K-12. And I did present this last year a couple times, but it's always a new year and my teachers always forget or they want a refresher. So I'm gonna present it again because I think this tool is really good for the students, the EBs, the emergent bilinguals, and then especially for the students that are labeled denials, which means that they got exited out of the bilingual program, or their parents decided to take them out, but they still have to take the TELPAS at the end of the year, and they don't have access to Summit K-12. So instead of that, we use Flip for them to practice throughout the year, because we did notice last year the denials scored low, even though they're supposed to be scoring advanced and advanced high. And then after more detail, after more research, we noticed that they scored low in speaking, which we believe was because they didn't have that practice that the EBs do using Summit K-12. So if you notice, I did post a couple of topics. This one was already there. Once you make a Flip Classroom, they have a couple of them already, but I uploaded this one, and you're gonna see that it's very similar if you've used Summit K-12 to how it's asked. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes, okay, just wanna make sure. So I usually name them Summit K-12 speaking. That way the students know that it's gonna be that for that specific topic, because I do use Flip for reading, science, math. You could use it for anything, but the students already know that if it's going to be for Summit K-12, it has to say Summit K-12 speaking. So this is this is a question that is from Summit K-12, which is use a map to provide directions. So the students are going to read the instructions, and what is nice about Flip is that they could also listen to it. So those students that need that accommodation, they will have it. You don't see it here, but it usually has like a little speaker, and then they have to click on it and I'll read it for them. And this is the image. It's not the best image, but usually I post it there for them, and this is from Summit K-12. Something else that's really nice about Flip is if you've used Flip before, it does give you the, oh, I can't use it because I'm using the camera, but it does give you options to record yourself or just use the audio. And if it's for Summit K-12, I usually tell my kids to turn off the camera, since in the telpas, they're not going to be recording themselves. They're only going to be using the audio. Okay.
Stephanie,
was
if you click on the three dots when you're there on the topic, if they need help reading out the instructions, there's immersive reader built in there too.
Oh, there we go. That's what it's called. I'm like, I know it was somewhere, but yes, here it is. Thank you. Okay. So that was the accommodation. And these little three dots right here, immersive reader, and it would read it to them. That was on me. I didn't copy it correctly. Okay. So this is another example. It's directly from Summit K-12, but I did want to share how I've used Flip for science reading and science with my previous students. I haven't had time this year to set it up yet with this class, even though last year I did. I ended up looping with my students, so they're already familiar with Flip. But let me show you some examples. So this is on genre, book genre study. So the question is, what is your favorite genre, and why is that genre your favorite? And this is an example.
Stephanie, do you want to share your sound with us
Oh,
so we can hear,
how
please?
can I do that?
If you stop sharing, you can just then share again. And at the top, include computer sound. There's a little toggle.
Okay. Oh, I see.
My favorite genre is non-fiction and biography and poetry. First of all, I like biography because it tells you about people's lives, like Martin Luther King. It tells you about when he was born, and I like non-fiction because it tells you like science, non-fiction science. It talks about tarantulas, turtles, and I like poetry because it's easy. It's rhythms and it gives you songs. Mi género favorito es el de no ficción porque es real y es informativo.
That was for reading, and this was maybe 2 years ago, I believe, for science. Let me share this.
Mi nombre es Analí Ortiz de Farías Elementary. Mi nombre es Eduardo Cárdenas de Seferino Farías Elementary. Mi nombre es Jimena Sánchez de Seferino Farías Elementary. Mi nombre es Jelen González de Seferino Farías Elementary. Hoy vamos a aprender el volcán. Un volcán es una montaña de lava y fría y ceniza y otros materiales. Un volcán puede irrumpir rápido o lento. Es bien caliente, no puedes tocarlo. Un volcán tiene ceniza que puede matar a alguien.
Okay, so those were more academic, but I usually post something if not weekly, then maybe daily. And I haven't started this year, but I will soon. And it's something fast. For example, last year, I had them tell me about STAR. So it could be something really quick. And these are the questions that I had. And it was at the end of the year, so it is a little bit more questions, but maybe at the beginning of the year, just start with 1 or 2 questions. And I was a little girl that I had last year.
My morning routine was fine, and the test started at 8:30. The first couple of questions were easy for me, and I think the start was a little bit easy, and I skipped 2 questions around what time do you I start at 8:35 and finish at 2:45.
So it does take the students some practice to get used to it. I know in the beginning of the year, a lot of the students don't want to turn on their camera because they're not used to it. Even though they say they want to be YouTubers, as soon as that camera comes out, they get shy. So I'm like, well, use this time to practice. And then throughout the year, you do see a lot of improvement. But if you would like any help on how to set up the Summit K 12 questions or how I did it, let me know, or any questions on how to set up an actual flip assignment, let me know as well. But I am pretty much done.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. I love Flip. That's one of my favorite tools. So I'm glad to see that it's being used. And it's so nice to see the student examples as well on that. So I think it's a powerful tool. If teachers, start using that, it does help with the students. All right. Last reminder to check in on the remote system, PD system. PSJA Tech is the remote check-in code. And last up, we have Lori De Los Santos with some more fabulous tips for you all. So Lori, take it away.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lori De Los Santos. I'm the CLL at Henry Ford Elementary. So today I'm going to share with you a website called EduAid. Let me just get there real quick. Okay, so EduAid is a tool to help teachers with instructional planning and much, 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 much more. There's so many fantastic tools on this website. I'm just going to go over a few of them, but please please go on there and explore all the tools. We will be going over the content generator, which will help you generate lesson plans, unit plans, rubrics, games, civic activities, and real world examples for your classroom. There's also an AI assistant that'll help you create class announcements, emails, report card comments, and substitute teacher plans. The assessment builder will help you create assessments of these different item types, multiple choice, true and false, short answer. And there's also a place where you can save all of your content. Okay, so let's dive in. So this is the website, it's PSJA.ai, and you can log in with your PSJA credentials. And so once you log in, this is the landing page that you see. So for right now, this is the planning tab. And in the planning tab, these are all the different resources that you have here. Lesson seed, activities, evidence statements, objectives, 5E model, rubrics, and unit plans. Okay, so on the lesson seed, second grade is doing a story. I think they did the story last week. The story was titled How Many Stars in the Sky by Lenny Hort. So you just type in on the bottom what you want it to generate. So in this case, I want it to generate a lesson for this story. And I also included the TEKS, which is setting. The more descriptive you are, the better your lesson will come out, or whatever the AI shoots out. So I also asked it to include a content and language objective. And I also wanted to make connections to sustainable development goals and to include differentiated assessments. So one thing I forgot to mention at the top, you do need to select the subject and the grade level that you want the AI to create. So you type that in, you add it to the workspace, and then the AI starts generating your lesson for you. As you can see, here's the content objective, here's the language objective, and then it makes the connection to the sustainability goal. Okay, and then it has the entire lesson for you here. The prior knowledge, the direct teach, guided practice for your students, application, formative assessments, and then the differentiated assessments that you can give to your students. Very, very cool tool. You can save it right here. So you want to save it for later, you just type in a title for the document and click save, and it'll save it in a folder for you so you can look at it at a later time. Okay. Once you're done with it, you can clear your workspace if you want to start something brand new. So let's go ahead and continue with the same topic, same story, How Many Stars in the Sky. And remember, I didn't even tell the computer what the story was about. It automatically, I guess, knows what How Many Stars in the Sky is. And so if I want to create some engaging activities, I'll just click there. And I'm going to go with the same topic on the bottom, and then I'm going to add to workspace. And so these are additional activities that I can do with the same story, same TEKS. And so I can pose a true or false question related to the story, such as true or false, the story takes place in the city. There's some mindfulness. There's some deep questions that you can ask your students. There's riddles. So there's a lot of different things that you can do here. Okay, so let's go into, let's go into the cooperative learning tab. So this one is really, really cool. You can create a debate, a bingo, a Jeopardy, or a review game. You can do jigsaw, civic activities like jigsaw or think, pair, share. So I'm going to do think, pair, share, same keyword down here. You add it to workspace. And so it gives you the content objective, language objective, sustainability goal, different assessments, and then it gives you ideas for a think, pair, share activity to do in your classroom. Okay, another cool one is the Jeopardy game. So what I'm going to tell it to do is just create a game for the story. Let me clear this first. So we don't have to think about the questions for our Jeopardy game. It'll automatically give us the categories and the questions that we can put into each category in like 15 seconds. So all you have to do is copy paste. So I found a Jeopardy template, and so I just copy and paste. Oops, sorry. So I just found a Jeopardy game, a template. And here it is, how many stars in the sky. So you put your classroom in teams, they choose whichever question, and you have a review right here really, really quickly, okay? Okay, so that is that one. Now on the assistant, and there's other tabs here that y'all can explore on your own. There's just so many resources on here. So for the assistant, you have class announcements, an email home, a newsletter, all these different things that the AI will help you with. So let's just say that we have, I need to send a class announcement that we're going to have a parent meeting on Thursday. September 23rd at 4:30 in the library. Snacks will be provided. Topic is internet safety. And then so you just click add to workspace and it will create like a short class announcement for you. The cool thing about this too is you can change the language. So if you need this for your bilingual parents, you change the output language to Spanish. And then just add it to workspace again, and it'll translate it for you in Spanish. So I thought that was really neat. Okay, and then you save it, or you can clear your workspace. I didn't brush it. Okay, so there's also email home. So if you need to not necessarily send an email, but if you need help calling a parent and say like wording your telephone call with parents correctly, this will help a lot, the email home. So if you have a student that fell in the playground, you can just add it to the workspace, and then it'll give you, some words that you can tell the parents, a tactful way of communicating with parents right here. Okay. There's also, let me see, the assessment builder is also really neat. So up here, you can just put your TEKS. So compare and order numbers to 120. And let's say this is a second grade TEK and I want multiple choice answers. Just click multiple choice, you generate your questions and your questions will come out on the bottom. And so here are some questions. You can adjust the difficulty of the question. So if you want it a little more difficult, you put the up button. If you want it a little easier, you decrease the difficulty. If you like the question, then you click the plus button and it will move it over to your assessment. If you want to use, let's just say like star sentence stems, you can edit the question and you can change it to align it with the star questions. If you want matching questions, you just click matching and you regenerate and it'll give you questions that are matching. If you like them, then you can add them to your assessment. Let's say I like this one, I can add it. but I want this one first. You can change the order of the questions also. And then this is where you find your saved content. So this is where you click to find everything that you've saved. You can go back to it, and here's the preview of it. And there's a lot of cool features on here. I would need like an entire hour to go through everything, but this is EduAid in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please send me a Teams, and I'd be happy to help you with anything EduAid.
Awesome presentation,
you.
Lori. Everybody has always wanted an assistant. I've always said as a teacher, I needed an assistant, and now we have one. So pretty amazing, pretty amazing. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. We are going to, if you want to stick around for our door prizes, make sure you've signed in, and we're going to do that right now. Valentine's going to bring up the clock, and we'll go ahead and stop the recording. So thank you all who have joined our recording today. Please join us next time.